Oh,
Holy crap, it's 9:18. We're late. My
yeah.
my computer was like, "You know what? I think you should restart me today." And then I
Hmm.
was outside enjoying the deck and the beautiful cool morning, and then about 14 lawnmowers fired up. So we moved locations.
Here we are.
So for anybody who's catching this on the replay later and we're doing this stalling bit, hang with us. We're going to have a fun conversation because it's Fuck It Friday. So we're going to
Oh
just
boy.
have a moment there. And if you are
Oh boy.
just joining us, please say hi in the comments. We're
Yeah,
looking forward to connecting with you today.
it'll be fun.
It's good. Uh we had lots. Did you get rain in the city last night? We did out
Y-
here.
yes, ma'am. Did I get rain? Good grief.
Yeah.
Good grief. But let's be honest. Maybe not the best time of year to have rain, but we needed some moisture.
Why? Why
It
is
was
it not a
starting to
good
get,
time to have rain?
well, because
I
people are
guess
trying to
people
get
trying to
crops
harvest.
off,
Yeah, that's true. Right.
you know.
I
That whole
appreciate
farmer thing, I don't know.
it. Good
I don't
morning,
know.
Carol. Good morning, Angie. Yeah, that's true.
Uh,
Okay, that makes sense. I'm up to speed with you now. It's
but
good.
welcome to Friday.
Yeah. Welcome to Friday, everyone. Woo! We made it through day number 1 of Canadian Country Music Week.
Yeah.
I mean, relatively, like we were done our shift earlier, not 1 a.m. or anything like that. So it was a good, easy start for us. Good morning, Robert.
We edged our way into it.
And I feel good about that. Today's our marathon day.
Today is special.
Today's gonna be a long one, but it'll be great. So
I'm excited though,
yeah.
because I was looking at the list of performers we have, and it is man, I have a lot of people that I like to think are my friends, but I know that they're raising an eyebrow going, "Oh, not him again."
Yeah. There's a few people on the list today that we haven't seen in a while that I'm really looking forward to connecting back with. And I think what's cool, today's list is long, but it's also includes a lot of people that I haven't had the opportunity to meet or connect with before. So I think that will also be really cool.
I have a few people that I really like on this list that, I can't wait to see.
Yeah, I feel like it's just like we need to text Luann and be like, "Oh, bud,
No,
he's
no,
coming.
no. Like,
He's coming in hot today, Luann. Be careful." Yeah.
well, Lou's going to be there with the three ugly guys. That's just the way it is,
Yeah.
and that's okay. But then on top of that, someone that we got to know through our COVID diamonds in the rough, Jade Turner's going to be there.
Yeah.
She
She's
was
amazing.
cool.
Yeah.
She's awesome. I'm going to say one of one of Limelight's, I'm going to call her a hero to us.
Okay.
Cadence.
Cadence. I got to hug her yesterday. She's been on Coffee Club before.
She's
Love her
awesome.
so. Love her so.
Who else? Oh yeah. Foxworthy.
Right. I forgot about your dream duo there.
We have had so many fun times, like just random things have happened every time I've introduced them, and I just don't even know how to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're your girls. I get that. No, it's gonna be a good day. It's gonna be good.
And then, of course, the mullet will be there.
Yeah. Well, it's not really a mullet though. Drew doesn't have a mullet. He's got the full gamut of hair.
Like he's
I
party in
don't
the
think
front
it
and party in the back.
mullets are short and then long. Like I think his is just long now.
Like, does he just need someone to lend him money for a haircut, or how does this work? I don't know.
I want to start a campaign of bring back the beard. Yeah.
Oh, and then one of your new friends that we met at the ACE convention,
Right.
Brandon Lorenzo.
Oh, poor Brandon. I like saying Lorenzo.
I know.
He was on Coffee Club a few weeks ago also. A few
I
weeks
know.
ago, probably 3 months, because I have no concept of time anymore, but
Yeah, it's all good.
my
It's all good.
nose keeps running. I'm apologizing for that. Just it's cool enough outside that my nose ran this morning. I was like, "What's happening?" Fall.
You got issues, man.
Effing fall. It's Fuck It Friday, so we're allowed to say that today.
Well,
Anybody who's connecting in, please say hi in the comments. We're so glad you're checking us out. And anything you want that's on your mind today that you want to, we always throw a little Fuck It Friday to the wind, is what I like to say. So something that you just need to release so we can head into the weekend. But I was hoping we could have a conversation this morning too. I mean, I think everybody's talking about it with the passing of the Queen yesterday. We
oh,
were talking yesterday morning when we were on Coffee Club. At that time when we were live, she was still alive. She was just under medical care at
wow.
that time, and then she passed away later in the day. And it's been an interesting mix for people. And I want to take one moment to acknowledge that we're in a we're in a we're in a world now where we're seeing things for truth, and we're seeing things from different eyes and different perspective. And I do want to acknowledge for a moment that the symbolism of the monarchy, the colonialism of how that unfolded, the history of that doesn't feel great to everybody. And
Yeah,
I want to acknowledge that for a moment. And I don't disagree. I do also want to say that, like, the whole premise of royalty and royal bloodlines, and it's almost like, I'm going to say it, it's almost like a dog breeding program and all of these things. Like, it's a foreign world that's a little bit, but so I want to acknowledge that not everybody feels good about it. Okay. But what
100%.
I would like to do today is be respectful to a woman who passed away and families who lost somebody, and just share some of that story. Because at the end of the day, like I was even saying to Kaden when we were driving to school today, like, this is a huge historical moment, because for most of us in the world, she is the only monarch royal leader that we have had. So this is a huge shifting of history with her passing, and the fact that we will have a new king
Today.
step in. Like, it's historically something we've never gone through before.
Well, no, and I agree. And like you said, there's two sides to the story. Everyone has their own opinion.
Yeah.
And I say
And
it all
you're
the time.
welcome to
Everyone
it.
has their own opinion, but not their own fact. The fact of it is, for 76 years, she did everything she could, and probably the way that I heard it denoted the best is, here's a person who chose to live her life for everyone else and not really have a personal life for 76 years.
Yeah.
Because everything she did was under the microscope.
Yeah. Which would be so hard. And I think too, like, there's lots of layers in the conversation of royal families and monarchs and imperialism and all of those things. There's all kinds of conversation, and there could be
Yeah.
all kinds of conversation for whether you're for it or against it, or believe in it or don't, or agree with it or don't, or would have liked to have seen her eradicate more change, or totally see her side of how you wanted it to be. I think there's a lot of interesting layers of belief in divinity and some religious belief that layer into that also. And I don't want to, in um
Well, you're really running down the rabbit hole here.
I know I don't want to fight anybody's piece of that today, but I wanted to just say an acknowledgement to it, that not everybody is on the same page about it. But I know that I think for those of us who grew up in the era of when we sang God Save the Queen in school, I remember learning it in band, and we had to play it all the time. And when she would come to Canada for visits and all of these things, there was this interesting, they're a fascinating family. They stand for different things. And you think about just the fact that Queen Elizabeth II was the longest running person in that position is Like, it's
ever.
fascinating. She went through, what did they say, 15 prime ministers in London in her time,
Yeah.
like both world wars, a pandemic. Like, she seems so much change and been a part of so many things for her whole life that it's interesting. And Kelly says to you, yeah, she's finally free. Just
Well,
think for a moment, like the pressure she was under every freaking day.
well, and she and here's the funny thing about Canada, weird stat. Not a lot of people know this. You do. I'm a bit of a royal enthusiast,
Yeah,
if you will.
we got talking about that yesterday. Well, and I think too, what's interesting, what I always appreciate when someone passes, no matter, regardless if it's the most famous woman in the world to, your Uncle Bob.
Yeah.
The stories that get exchanged in that time frame to me are where human community is its most beautiful, right? Because we come together on some sort of level to share in these stories. And so we got talking about it yesterday, and you were saying that as a young boy, you kind of started to get fascinated with the royal family. And I was like, for real? Tell me more. And so I wanted you to share that today because it's like kind of a fun story.
It is. And I mean, I'll preface with this. The Queen visited Canada more times than any other country. She was here 22 times. And I mean, I became excited with it. I think it was, I know when it was 1981. How old were you then? That was a long time ago for you.
3.
Man, are you old. Anyways,
yeah.
Well, I digress. And what it was I went to school with a girl who was part of the royal family and no one knew it. And all of a sudden, she had to leave school early one year, in the middle of June because she was going to a wedding. We're going, you got to leave 2 weeks early for a wedding? Who's getting married?
Yeah.
And that's when Prince Charles was getting married. When we went back to school in September, oh yeah, she had pictures of her in the royal wedding and she's in the pictures. And it was kind of cool. That's when I'm kind of going, wow, this is big.
Yeah. Well, and just the proximity of that, like that you were like, oh, that's kind of cool. I heard this really great interview this morning, this story that I wanted to share because it really shows, like, apparently the Queen had a really dry, great sense of humor that we didn't, I think, got to see on an average daily basis. But they were talking to one of her bodyguards that was with her for a huge length of time. And he was sharing this story, how they were out for a walk one morning and there were two people walking, 2 hikers that were walking towards them. And he said that it was always the Queen's, she always stopped to talk and say hello to every single person that she passed when she was out on a walk. Mm-hmm. Which one I think is pretty freaking cool as it is. So anyway, these 2 hikers approach them and she stops with her bodyguard to say hello and they're having a conversation. They were 2 Americans who were on like a hiking vacation through Europe. And so they were talking and he said that it was really funny because they were just having this conversation and you could very well tell that they did not recognize who they were speaking to. And so they one American hiker asked the Queen where she's from. And so she's like, oh, well, I live in London, but I also have a vacation home just over the hill here. And the American says to her, like, oh, well, how long have you been coming here? And she's like, oh, since I was a little girl. So it's been about 80 years that I've come here. And he said, wow, if you've been coming here that long, have you ever met the Queen? And so the bodyguard said she giggled for a moment and said, well, no, I have never met her, but Dick here has met her several times. What do you think, Dick? Like, and so then the American gets very excited and says to him, look, you've met the Queen. What is she like? And so in this interview, he says, I knew that I could pull her leg a little bit and she would go along with, because she was always such a good sense of humor. So he said that he looked at the American and said, well, sometimes she can be cantankerous, but for the most part, she's got a pretty good sense of humor. And they both light up and they're excited. And he said before they knew it, they had run around beside him and they hand camera to the queen and say, could you get a quick photo of us with this guy? He's met the queen. So she takes a picture of this man or these two hikers with her bodyguard. And then they end up taking a photo all together and they carry on their way. And he said they walked down the path a little further and the queen turned to him and said, boy, would I like to be a fly on the wall when they get back to America and show their friends that photo. He said they never let on who she was. They never said a thing, but she just had a good giggle that afternoon about the fact that they had no idea and they would look back. Like, could you imagine that moment when they're like, guys, that's the freaking queen that you're in the photo.
Post that on Facebook and everyone's going to think you're an idiot. Hey, I met the queen's bodyguard and this lady, and all your friends are going, you are dumb. Here's your sign.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he ever said his position. He just said he had met her, right?
Yeah.
So just like, I thought that was such a cute story, like just showing her obvious sense of humor and her kindness to stop and just talk.
Just chat.
And it was an interesting year was the year that William and Kate came to Calgary. You remember that for the Calgary Stampede?
Yes.
So I had the opportunity to be one of the accredited media who got to follow them that day that they were here. And I wasn't a big royalist or a royal follower at that time, but my sister was obsessed with Kate. She even named her car Kate.
Oh, good grief.
But the piece I think that was the most interesting is we were sitting on the bus. And so they had media that had come over as well from the UK. And there was a man that was on the bus with us who basically his whole career, and he had been a journalist for, I think, 40 years at that point. His entire career was to follow the royals. And so it was really interesting. Like, I just wanted to sit, like, I tried to sit by him on the bus every time because I wanted to overhear his conversations because, I mean, he had, like, I was like, I want to interview this guy because his whole career, like, he'd been followed. He was sharing stories that he'd followed them. He knew William from when he was born. He has pictures of him from
crazy
his toddler, and now he's following him as an adult. And his whole entire career was just to report on the royal family. Like, that's how huge. We have no idea in Canada how huge that is in that country.
Oh,
I thought it was fascinating. Like, he had so many stories. It was just kind of cool. And then I thought, and I think they're interviewing lots of people that are sharing those kinds of stories in this time frame, people that have had experiences. And there was a lady that I'd heard called into a radio station and was sharing that she had befriended one of the butlers of the royal palace. I don't remember, and I didn't retain how she had known him or whatever, but they had become friends. And so he had brought her one of the plates from the breakfast serving dishes from Buckingham Palace. And and he gifted it to her. And she was like, oh, I don't want you to get in trouble. And he's like, it's okay. We allot for breakages all the time. I want you to have this. And so to this day, this woman who lives in Calgary has an actual plate from the royal china. And she said, like, it's antique white and it's got little purple flowers on it. And she has it up in the cupboard. And she has one of the actual plates that the queen ate breakfast off of. Unique
souvenir. Washed it.
Unique souvenir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Cheryl says she loves the fact that the queen worked during the Second World War before she was queen. So she just felt so down to earth to her.
She was a very, I don't know how you put it. I mean, she was the right person for the job, without a doubt. She is someone that has never put a black eye on it, has never done or said anything wrong. Like, I don't know how she did it because I would have messed that up about 24 months in. And yeah.
Well, I think she took the job very seriously. And I don't know how much, like, if you've watched, there's a series on Netflix called The Crown. And
you told me about this.
It's created as a show. So there's going to be pieces of it that are real and pieces of it that aren't real. That's television, but it has historical fact pieces throughout the show. And I don't know how much of that show is real. But if the pieces of it that are, looking into the interesting pressures of that and the different pieces, I think when you're someone in that position, like when you say Black Eye, like they had the means and audacity to cover any of those black eyes up, probably
Yeah.
however they wanted. Again, I don't want to be disrespectful when someone has passed, but I mean, not everything is perfect and not everything
No.
is because at the end of the day, royal bloodline or not, they're humans. Humans are going to do human things.
You're as close to perfect as they come, Jode.
Nope. Although, like I said yesterday, the 23andMe results said that we were 76% British Irish. So I could be of royal bloodline and I don't know. Yeah.
Not likely.
Not likely. No.
Not likely.
No. But I could have been related to like the butler or something. Yeah.
Oh, there's no doubt about that.
And that's cool enough for me. Yeah.
All right. Cool. What else is happening?
Just, I don't know. I think it was interesting to see all the people sharing the stories and how it's affected them. And I think like anything, when it's a like at the end of the day, it's a celebrity passing. And so we as non-celebrities of the world I just find it fascinating from a human experiment element in just like, we have an interesting fascination and attachment to people we don't know, to people we admire or don't admire or watch or don't, right? Like we create these connection points with celebrities. And I always find it fascinating.
Yes.
And to acknowledging, like, if you felt sad or feel sad yesterday or today, and you're like, man, I'm feeling so upset over, like, it's okay. Like, acknowledge that. Like, somebody lost their life. And she had such an incredible life, like 96 years old. It was amazing.
Ooh, that's a long time. Like you're halfway there.
Yeah. Shut up. You're closer. You're always closer. So you can say whatever you want.
I had to say it. Oh.
Yeah. So it was just, I wanted to just chat about that because it was kind of cool that you went to school with someone
who, and it was weird. It was neat. They didn't, it was cool. Yeah. You know something I wanted to bring up because I need some advice today.
Uh-oh.
How many people do we have viewing right now? Like, I need advice from people.
There's at least a dozen, I think.
Jody and I have to spend the better part of 12 hours together tonight in some place that's going to be crowded, loud. And if you don't understand, Jody and I get along pretty good. But there's going to come a time, maybe about 9:30 tonight, where we're both going to get a little crusty. Is that fair to say?
Oh, I don't get that way, but I understand that you do.
So if anyone has any possible solutions or mechanisms to help us get along until 1 or 2 in the morning, I think that'd be, I really need that help today.
Yeah. Well, I feel like I could start this off. Like, don't be annoying. Be super kind. Ensure that I have snacks and drinks at all times. Like,
yes,
those are pretty simple things that you could do that won't work. Like, that will help us keep amicable until 1 a.m.
Snacks.
Cadence is going to bring us weed gummies.
Man, do I like her.
I love you.
Except I was going to go try and introduce myself, but I thought it was going to be creepy for me to do that. So I'll just wait till today.
All right. You could have, Cadence knows who you are.
You know.
And her mom, Cheryl. Alcohol, Jody. Yeah, I don't know if these things are going to make it better, but we can try them.
When we go on stage, I don't know that alcohol's our friend.
No.
You and I can just...
It wouldn't help.
You and I just, At some point, I'm going to get throat punched. I know it.
Well, maybe just for entertainment purposes and also secretly.
It'll make you feel good?
A little bit of a dream. Yeah. It's fine. We're gonna be
Oh
fine.
boy.
So come down for the entertainment. We will be at the
Yes.
Metropolitan on 8th Ave.
8th Ave.
It's in a mall, 7th, 8th, and 8th Ave, really. It's gonna be good.
Yeah, you park in the lot, you take the plus 15 through a couple of buildings, you get lost, but you cross the next plus 15. The elevator's broken, but if you go down the escalator, there's a big M on the doorway, and you show up and you're just there.
You know what? I never feel more High River-idy until I'm downtown Calgary. And then I'm like, what is going on? It's so
If
silly.
people would have seen us going there yesterday, they were looking, they're going, those two fuckers are lost.
Yeah, I'm just panicked. I got my backpack. I'm scurrying. I don't know where I'm going. We were almost late. Like, we probably almost lost our job yesterday because every freaking layer of the parkade was reserved.
Because half the it was awful.
It was just, yeah, I feel very small town when I go downtown.
Okay, today's going to be better. Take a breath.
Today's
There we
going
go.
to be better. I still got to figure out what I'm going to wear. There's so much pressure. COVID was like, let's have some gratitude for when we just wore tops.
Well, and
it was so much easier.
I was going to say you and I, but it was more you. Even when we went to the ACE convention, you just jumped on stage in pajama pants, slippers, and had some glitter on or something. I don't know. Yeah, I like it way better because you can just throw on a shirt and you got your shorts and your slippers or your flip-flops on and life's good.
I don't know if we just try to start that's acceptable. I think it's too far now. Like, we missed the window where we could have just kept that going and people would have followed that.
Been a trendsetter.
Yeah, but we didn't. Like, now it's too late. Now it's just people are kind of forgetting that part and you just look like somebody who forgot their pants.
Well, that's an option too.
But anyway,
I'll bring mine.
It'll be fine. We will. Yeah. We didn't get a chance because of the parkade plus 15 lost scenario to go live before the thing yesterday. We'll shoot for that today. No promises. Okay. So make sure you're following Limelight Audio and Media and Saroma Entertainment to keep up to date on what's going to happen today. But we're going to have some fun.
Awesome.
We're going to be good. Awesome. Cadence, I can't wait to see you. And yeah, here we go. Day 2. Woo!
Day 2. I'm excited and I'm going to give Cadence a hug.
Be prepared.
Oh, I'm sorry for her.
Me too. Yeah. What time is she on? Do we know this?
She's earlier in the day.
Oh, she's on when we're still friends.
Yeah, you'll still be nice then.
My phone did an update in the middle of the night, and I'm kind of concerned.
Whoa.
Cadence. Where are you?
I don't know. And around 4 o'clock, maybe?
I'm looking. No, she's on at 9.
Oh, dear.
She's right in the window where we're going to throat chop. Cadence, you can help me throat chop them. Yes. Yeah, she just said 9. She's on at 9. Oh, okay. Are you going to?
I'm going inside. I got a meeting, man.
Are you going to change before the stage?
Nope. I'm wearing high vis and ball cap, and I might even take safety glasses on stage because
and then I
can wear my safety equipment.
You can do the safety dance. You know that song? Do the safety dance. Look, romance.
Oh boy.
Words. Anyway. All right.
You frustrate me sometimes.
Have a good meeting. We'll see you downtown later. Friends, thank you for hanging out and having fun. We will try to keep you updated. Again, follow Limelight Audio and Media to stay up to date with our country music weekend. And we will see you.
It's going to be great.
Hopefully Monday morning, 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, possibly with Ray Croto. So it's going to be good. All right.
You're awesome.
Okay. Bye, everybody.